Welcome to another AriasWave market update. In this video, I'm going to basically explain what I believe is happening according to AriasWave in these charts. This is the Dow Jones, and it appears as though this correction is not complete. And the reason for that is because of not only the new wave count, the latest wave count that I have, but also the type of price action that we have been seeing since the start of the year. So from what I can tell here, there is a three-wave move going on. Okay, the three-wave move, which could be complete, might not be complete. Okay, still going through that process of analysis to see if wave C is complete. It might not be complete just yet, but definitely it's starting to, bring up a bit of evidence as to what could be, or sorry, clues as to what could be going on here. Now, normally when a big correction starts, like the kind I've been anticipating, this typically starts off pretty quick, and you lose, you know, you go down pretty quick, like what happened in 2020, right? We went pretty straight down pretty quick, right? The thing is, with this particular pattern, this is a very interesting pattern here, right? I've had this idea before, and it's had to come back again because it basically seems to explain a little bit more about what's the deal here. Now, this is like a wave A. It's almost like the same move that I believe happened in the Great Depression, except it's a smaller version, especially in percentage wise. And then the B, the C, the D, and the E happened to end wave 4. The rest is just a 5-wave move that's incomplete. So I always did wonder about this pattern for the longest time. It's the choppiest thing I've ever seen on a chart. But given this particular view of the markets, it seems to make a bit of sense. So when you get like a wave that's this choppy, typically it signals the end of a move, but sometimes that can go on a bit longer than you anticipated. So, for example, you've got this wave 1, 2 here. So that looks like a zigzag, even though according to AriasWave, that's not just a zigzag in the conventional sense, as in Elliott wave, for example, right? If you want to learn about AriasWave, I've released a book. It's basically like a beta version of the AriasWave Learn the Waves book. It's available on Amazon, and it will be updated, and you will get the update once it's updated. It's going to include a couple of revisions and some more in-depth short-term analysis as well. But I did put the main content out there so you can begin to understand how I look at the waves according to AriasWave. Okay, so this is wave 2, short and sharp, looks like a zigzag, even though it's not. I just mentioned that. Because for starters, if this was a zigzag, then this would be a 5-wave move, and so would this. Okay, now that's not how waves work. This is all in my book if you want to learn about it, but fair enough. Anyway, so we had the end of wave 4, which appears to be around this level here, around the 24,000 area. And then we had a 1, 2, 3, which I believe is what ended at the end, or sorry, at the beginning of the year, right? And then now we're going to go into this sideways, uh, potentially sideways correction, right? Now it could expand to the upside, right? But it'd be purely a correction, right? And then you'd get that last move, which could potentially be as long as this move here, right? Don't know if you can see that one there, wave 1. So this here is not a complete correction, right? to me, this is the beginning of some sideways price action, right? The one thing that I do like about AriasWave, the one thing that I do agree with is the rule of alternation. Okay, whenever wave two is short and sharp uh, and deep, then wave four will tend to be more drawn out sideways and shallow, right? So this is what I'm seeing here. The beginning of, according to AriasWave, this is the beginning of a sideways correction. So what would make this less likely to be the case? Well, you can't go, wave four can't go into the price territory of wave one and two. So therefore, this magenta line that I have gone across the screen here at around 29,000, roughly, you know, uh, we wouldn't see price action go into this area if this analysis is to be correct. Okay. Now, at this point in time, I can't say for sure whether or not that's a bottom. It could be, not 100%. It looks like it could be in terms of length compared to wave A in brackets. So at this point in time, it's completely up to you how you take care of business. I do post to my members anything that I see, something that you should, you know, something that I would do, right? Because I can't give financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But there's definitely something going on there with regards to a sideways price action unfolding. Now, the reason that I would probably suggest that this is the case is if you take a look at the euro, right? Now, the euro typically will give you an indication of basically like, okay, I'll go to the daily chart. I don't know if you've seen this chart or not. I've presented it in many of these videos. This is obviously not looking like the updated version. Yeah, okay. So basically, it's not necessarily a B wave, a larger B wave. These colors mean something, by the way. If you get into AriasWave, you'll understand what it is. So yeah, there's already a C wave down here. Okay, so I expect the euro to go low, 62, basically half of what it started at back at the highs. But this move that's just happened since the start of the year, right? I believe that this is just a wave one down. Okay, so for me, this is like a, how can I say it? It's like it's a type one weak five wave move. It's like you can't really call it a leading diagonal, right? Because in Elliott terms, anything that moves in five waves, where wave one is three wave three is three waves, and wave five is three waves, it would be like in a diagonal kind of shape, right? And this one kind of isn't. So I don't really like that term. That's why I use my own terms. But in terms of what's going to happen next, well, this is supposed to be the area where this cannot go back above, you know, until we see the move down right down to that level or below it. Okay, so we've had confirmation of this happening, but there's only one problem here. Okay, and that is that we need to see a correction. We've only seen wave one. Okay, so because we've only seen wave one, then now we need to see a pullback, as in a corrective process that's going to unfold, something like this, right? Right, there's something like that. Okay, now this is going to take some time, and I can't. This is just an example. Obviously, we don't know what it's going to look like, but I do know what waves are going to occur, and these are the kinds of waves that will occur. So that type of thing will probably cause price action in the Dow Jones to basically go sideways for a while, right? If you get me. even make that last high, which it has to make technically. It has to make that final wave 5 move up, and then that's when we'll get like a turn down in the market here that will be a bit more severe, right? So it may end up looking like to some, I suppose, to even like Ellioticians, like some kind of contracting pattern potentially. It might contract like so, like something like that, like there's all this stuff that people use to dictate price action, like a thrust and all that sort of stuff. Although that may be true, it's the waves that are the ones that you should pay attention to. And if you can't identify exactly what the waves are doing, then practically it doesn't really serve you too well. Now, I'm only going to mention this quickly just to top this video off, because there will be further updates as we get closer to what's happening. Bitcoin, same deal. We are probably most likely in a wave 4 of the 5th wave. Okay, so wave 3, according to this analysis, ended in 2017. Wave 4 was the short and sharp. All the Arias waves are in there. So I don't believe that this is anything. This is not a zigzag, by the way. It looks like a zigzag, but that's because, like I gave you that example before, price has been, it's basically just like a shape. It's not actually driven off the pattern, because that's what gives you the clues, the patterns, right? Anyway, so we had a wave 1, a 2 sharp, a 3. Okay, and now we're having a shallow, we're probably going to see a sideways correction happen here, right? Which I'll be tracking and giving my members probably some signals across a few cryptos, especially the ones that they're interested in. But just to go back to this wave 3 that ended up at the end of last year, right? This was, in my opinion, a wave 3, right? Because at the end of the day, that wave was too long for this to be a zigzag. So trying to call this the top here, to me, it started to not make sense once I started to look at a few charts. And I do believe there is a little bit more upside for cryptos in general, including altcoins. I don't know about Luna. Luna's lost it quite a bit. So I don't know if I can continue to bring you any info on that, but anything else probably will. Um, I know that some people have left some comments as to what they want me to analyze, and I will get around to that in the coming days. But for now, this is the view. Don't expect this to just bounce back up straight away. We're probably going to see a bit of sideways price action here, right? Probably going to get the B, the C, the D, the E, the thrust to 5. We're done, right? Now, these moves, these are tradable, right? You have a range, but if you have a range bound market, right, you can trade that range, okay? So you can make profit going down, up, whatever it is, right? The point is that if you know the patterns, you can do that. So this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like a range bound market for a while. Final high before we see what I believe will be a very deep correction and probably a recession or something worse across the board, as I've been sort of hinting at in my recent analysis, in my recent videos. But due to continuous and obsessive looking into these waves, yeah, I can see that there's a potential here for this to not just go down straight away. So there's probably going to be a little bit of confusion in the markets over the coming, for the rest of the year, maybe even into next year, as to what's going on. You could potentially call it a bit of stagflation. There's a lot of interesting things going on with rates lately, and who knows what else is going on behind the scenes, when it comes to these macroeconomic, you know, pieces of information and fundamentals. But eventually, everything must come to an end, right? The trends will eventually end. The trend is your friend until the end. It's the obvious saying, except this one probably isn't over yet. So I'm not bullish, I'm not bearish, I'm neutral, but range bound markets can make me short-term bullish and short-term bearish. So this is just a quick update for now. Just quickly to zoom into this, just to show you what I've got here. Um, potentially we've got one more move down for Bitcoin, just to make one more low, potentially around 24,000 roughly, before we get a bounce, right? And the bounce could be the same pattern in reverse, right? As I've mentioned, could be something like this, right? Get a bit of this and then like that. Okay. That's all I'm going to say for now. But obviously, this is not financial advice. I'm just tracking the waves according to AriasWave. As I mentioned, I have a book. If you want to learn how it's done, how I do it, then you can go ahead and get that, or go to the website, have a look. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Please stay tuned. There is definitely more coming, and this has opened the door for quite a bit more trading to take place. It's that initial move down that gives us all the clues. This one does not look like one of those falling off the cliff moves. So to me, it looks purely corrective. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.